Are you a homeowner thinking about building a one or a two bedroom house? Did you know that the list of materials will definitely go a long way to ensure that the amount that you spend is definitely a saving or a loss? In today's video, we are discussing exactly that. Having wired several two bedrooms as well as three bedrooms, and we have a master or an all-in suite, I can definitely tell you that we understand what we are about to tell you. This video is supposed to act as a guide. If you have that sitting room area, you have the gypsum, and you have several lighting points that you want to have either for the panel lights or the downlighters or even the center light or the chandelier. We are definitely going to guide you and help you make the right decision that we'll be giving you. If you're an electrician, stick around because you will learn a lot, especially if you are a beginner. Top bosses, let's dive into the video and smash that like button if you are ready for this value. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, subscribe so that you don't miss any episode that is coming up.
Bedroom, and we will definitely be going into the details. This of course is in terms of wiring. Have you find yourself building and you are fixed in terms of what kind of materials do I require? Do I start with pipework? Do I start with wiring? And if I'm engaging an electrician, or probably you are one, what do I need to understand or do I need to know in terms of the materials? Top bosses, in our today's video, we are discussing exactly about that. Smash that like button if you are ready for this value. And this is one area that we cover so much. Majority of the electricians have an issue when it comes to solar sizing. If this is also something that you're looking for, we will definitely be helping you with that. But enough of that for today. Let us go directly to what is on the table in terms of our today's topic. Now, when it comes to a one or two bedroom apartment, the first thing that we need to know is that we will definitely be having that one bedroom. That is no question that it will be there. But again, my top bosses, we require one important thing that is definitely light. Another important thing is on the socket or the power outlet. This we definitely require. So when it comes to a one bedroom apartment, this is what we require. Top bosses, did you know that we have already covered a video on the material list for a single room as well as a two bedroom? Check it out. The link is right here. Now, when we are talking about a two bedroom or a one bedroom apartment, the difference in those two is definitely on that room, which is the one extra room that is the bedroom. Now, apart from the lighting, we of course require something that we also mentioned in our previous video, which is wiring a bed sitter. And we talked about one thing that stands out, which is a cooker. An electric cooker will definitely change the way the wiring is conducted because of the material list that is required for wiring a cooker. Another thing that stands out for both the bed sitter, the one bedroom, as well as the two bedroom apartment is definitely the instant shower. Most of the people who are in developed countries normally refer to it as a suicide shower. We address that and we say that in case it is properly wired, in case the safety has been taken into consideration, you don't need to fear. You don't need to worry because a safer instant shower will guarantee you cozy showers. My top bosses, going directly to what we require to understand in terms of material list, like we have been doing, is that we need to know that there is something that is referred to as pipework. So pipework is very important. Why pipework? Because we require what we refer to as PVC. All right. So the PVC, or definitely the conduits or the pipes, is what we require to have in the walls or even in the ceiling so that our pipes will always have the cables secured so that we don't have any issues. Remember, when it comes to electrical, like we were talking about it last time in our safety video, we say that the qualities of an electrical installation is that number one, it is supposed to safeguard the users, right? So it is supposed to ensure that people who occupy that home are safe. Another important thing is that the wiring has to protect itself against self-sabotage. I don't know whether this is something that we can discuss or it exists in electrical, but it has to protect against self-sabotage so that in case the cables come in contact with each other and then there is a short circuit, is it supposed to escalate into a flame burning down the property? No. If we have the PVC, it means that we are securing. Anytime that there is an issue, it doesn't blow up to become a fire that will burn down your investment. Now, as a homeowner, another thing that you need to know is that the wiring is supposed to protect the home, right? So this is where now what we normally talk about ceiling pipework comes in handy. Majority of the electricians conduct an electrical installation but refuse to watch out ceiling pipework. At Topites Electricals and Electricians, we have ensured that we take ceiling pipework with a lot of why? Because in the ceiling, temperatures are usually very high. So it makes the insulation on the wires to soften. This may even lead to the insulation to come off, especially for people who are fond of using insulation tapes or that like button. And if you are struggling in terms of the wiring materials, whether you are a homeowner, a developer, an electrician, or a DIYer who wants to understand clearly the material list or is just anxious to know what are the material lists for wiring a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, let me know in the comment section and we will also be assisting you when it comes to that. So agreed that pipework is very important. We'll start with 2 conduits. All right, we'll start with conduits depending on the size of that home, depending on the size of or the magnitude. Remember, when it comes to the number of conduits that you require, the customer will definitely be saying that, you know what, I need CCTV installation and it has to be quoted in that. I also need smoke detectors. All right, you're supposed to factor in that. I also require two-way switch systems for my lighting. You also know that will require extra pipework. Another thing is definitely if the client or you as a homeowner requires more power outlets or more socket. All right, this one you definitely need to know that you will require more pipework. That is for CCTV, for CCTV as well as sockets. That one definitely means that you require 20. So here we will have 25 and then here we can have lighting. So we'll have lights. So you require conduits as well as for lighting as well as CCTV, smoke detectors, and also we require pipework for sockets. In many cases, you find that it is recommended for sockets you require conduits. So for a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, for sockets you require 20, for smoke detection you require 20, for CCTV you require 25, and for lights you require. So in many cases you find that for 2 conduits you will basically be working on the lighting system that you have, and that is where majority of the conduits are used. All right, if you have any question in the comment section, let me know. Have you ever found yourself in a dilemma to come up with the list for wiring your own home, apartment, or investment? Let me know in the comment section if at all you require any assistance. Do you want to know the exact quotation that you require for building your own home or for constructing a home for your client? Let me know and I will definitely be glad to know any challenges that you come across my top bosses. Moving on, apart from pipework, the number 2 important aspect that you do require. Remember, in the pipework, we also have mentioned PVC. It's not only conduits, but we also require something else, which is the circular boxes. Top bosses, circular boxes. Why circular boxes? How important are circular boxes? Remember, we require to terminate, or we require places whereby these conduits will join together. All right, so let me just do the old way of doing stuff. I understand that the people who are in other learning institutions will definitely come up with better ways of drawing. But assuming that we have a bulb here, so this one is a bulb at the center or a lighting point, and then We have a consumer unit at this point, so it means that the mains will be connected at this, and assuming that we have a switch at this point, assuming it is a one-way switch, so we'll have a switch S1 here, and then we will definitely have another circuit. So this is the consumer unit. We require a box here, which is a circular box, and then we have a switch. So this switch activates this lighting point. At the same time, this circular box is serving a purpose of delivering a power supply to this circuit. It could be in the kitchen, it could be in the dining. You never know, my top bosses. But when you visit the customer, you are supposed as an electrician to design this system. And remember, once you have designed it, you are supposed to do it in a perfect way in consultation with your client so that you don't cut the walls after plastering has been done, especially if you are there from the start. That is why it is good for clients to always stick with the electrician from the word go until the completion of a project, especially if the electrician is a qualified one, like the ones that we have here at Top Heights Electricals and Solar. If you have one of our technicians will definitely be helping you throughout the project so that you don't make the common mistakes that majority of the electricians make and result in costing their clients a lot of money as well as their property. All right, moving on, my top bosses, we have said that indeed we require circular boxes. In the ceiling, another important thing that we require is circular covers. Majority of the electricians bypass this aspect. Why do you need a circular cover in the ceiling? Remember, like we said at the beginning, in the ceiling there are a lot of high temperatures, right? So if you are terminating the cables here, and for many people who use an insulation tape, it may not survive extreme temperatures in the ceiling. That is why it is important for you to conceal the circular box so that you may limit the impact of the temperatures on the joints and on the insulation tape. That one is an important tip that I've given you, my top boss, that deserves a like. So if that is something that you have gained today, hit that like button. Of course, I know that you knew it, but let me know. Where is it in terms of size, quality, or what? Choice of wire. That is an important question from our top boss. His name is IN Blevin. Thank you so much, Blevin, for your question. The choice of cable matters. I remember when in high school, our physics teacher told us that there are some factors that affect the circulation of current in a wire, or simply put, factors affecting the flow of electricity, or what determines the conductivity of a wire, or what are the qualities of a current carrying conductor. The first one we were told is definitely the material. Number two is definitely the size, and number three is the length. Now, how do these play a key factor in the choice of the material? As an electrician, you're supposed to know this. As a person that is coming up with a property, you're a property developer, you are a home builder, especially if you are a homeowner building a home for yourself, for your retirement, as well as for your loved ones. Did you know that this is an investment that you really need to consider in terms of the material? Why? Because this will also determine the longevity of your property. In fact, if you go with cables that are purely copper, it means that its lifespan will be elongated because you will not have constant repairs on the wiring. Number two, it means that this wiring can outlive the life of your property or even your life, which is very important. You don't want to go back doing repairs which are also costly. The size of the material matters a lot. In this sense, the material, which is the wire, if, for instance, you decide to go with 1.5 for socket wiring instead of 2.5 for socket wiring, the real question is, what if someone decides, the lawyer in me is coming up. What if someone decides to plug in an electric heater in that socket, which was wired using a 1.5? It means that the insulation will start overheating, melting, and it will come off. This will definitely come together, either the live and the neutral, or the live and the earthing, short circuiting it, and this may either trip the circuit breaker and it will cost you an entire wiring. Why? Listen to this. There's a house that I visited some time back. My client had called me, and when they complained that there was a lot of smoke in the ceiling, burning smell, I inspected and found out that there were cables which were overheating. The problem was that they melted the pipes or the conduits. Now, this one called for an entire overhaul of that circuit because you cannot rewire in those conduits. They were already burning, melting, and also coming together so that this space was constricted. There's no way you could have pulled the old cables or pulled new installation. So we had to do away with the entire wiring before we could actually have a new wiring. So in the long run, the customer spent a lot. Now, that is the problem of using the wrong size. So the size of the cable matters. If you're going with the lighting, you're supposed to go with 1.5. All right. So back to our material list when it comes to wiring. And so thank you so much for that question, Levin, because you have introduced the point number 2, which is the cables. So like we have agreed that for lights, we need 1.5. Margaret, I'm not sure whether I've answered Bravin in a correct manner. All right. Now, when it comes to heaters, especially the instant shower, we require 4.0 cables. In many cases, you find that for a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom, you do not require an entire roll of cable. For instance, for red, for black, as well as for green or for the earthy, you only require some few meters. From the consumer units, on average, it could be probably around 20 meters. That is from the consumer unit to the double pole activating the shower, and from the shower and from the double pole switch to the shower. So it's probably around 10 meters to 15 meters. But when giving the customer the quotation, you are required to be on the safe side, which is 20 meters, if I were you. Now, my top boss when it comes to 1.5 cables, this is very interesting. You find that the red cables will be used in plenty. So in fact, in a 1 bedroom, you may find that you use 2 to 3 rolls. Of course, you might not exhaust the 3 rolls of red cables. And then when it comes to black cables, there are circuits where you will not require the black 1.5 cables to run to. For instance, if you're connecting a two-way switch system, all right, unless if you are wiring a smart home. A smart home will require provision of the neutral in the switch. But all in all, it will only be a single neutral dropping to that switch, another single neutral dropping to this. Remember, when connecting two-way switches, you require 2 red cables connecting both L1 as well as L2. When it comes to activating the common switch, whereby you require the common line from the switch to the consumer unit, a red is involved. From the switch also going to the bulb, you also require a red. That is at least according to the standards that we have here in Kenya, which also apply in the UK, if I'm not wrong. Now, a neutral may not be used in that situation. And also another thing, my top boss, that you require to understand is that when it comes to supplying power to other lighting points, the neutral in many cases will only be a single line connecting all these lighting points. When it comes to a red cable, it will go all the way. Now, majority of the people bypass what we refer to as an earth cable when it comes to wiring. But did you know that also when it comes to earthing, the 1.5, you will not even exhaust an entire roll, because what you require is to ensure that the earthing is connected to the lighting points, a single cable. And from there, it goes all the way to the consumer unit, right? So you find that in many cases, when we have a switch, we don't have the provision for the earth connection. So we will require a single roll for earthing. Do not, my top bosses, omit earthing. So we require a single roll. We will also require another single roll for black cable, and that is it when it comes to light wiring. When it comes to socket or power outlet, my top bosses, we definitely require 2.5 both for red cable, for black cable, as well as for earthing cable. 2.5, no compromise. In an apartment where I am staying, there is a lot of jokes where they have used 2.5 for the red or for the line, 2.5 for the neutral, and here is where the joke is: 1.5 for earthing. What was going through the mind of this electrician or this developer baffles me, because they clearly don't take safety with a lot of weight that is required. If you are watching me and you are an electrician or a developer, and this is also what goes through your mind whenever you think of a quotation, my top bosses, I'm quite disappointed in you. Now, moving on, when it comes to 4.0, and like we have said for the instant shower, we have agreed again that an instant shower draws a lot of power or a lot of current from the source, which is the consumer unit. You have to again match these cables in the sense that the line or the red or the face has to be 4.0, black has to be 4.0, and the earth has to be 4.0. But again, you may ask, John, to be honest, why 4.0? Remember, the reason why we have a black cable or a neutral cable is simply because it acts as a return. The current that is flowing through the line, in fact, let me just use the red. The current that is flowing through the line to whatever appliance or device that you have, could be the shower, is the same current that is flowing back to the source. So if what is flowing here is 20 amperes, just know that what will be flowing back is also 20 amperes. The main question here is, will this return path, which is a black cable, be able to handle 20 amperes? Did you know that inside an instant shower, there is a protection whereby the earth is in there to collect any leakages from the shower all the way to the earth? The other question also is this: will this cable, the size of this cable, be able to handle the size of the current that has actually snacked? Okay, time for eating. The current that has sneaked from that shower all the way to the earth, will the cable be able to carry that current? All right. In case, another thing, this cable is in contact with this live cable by mistake, will it be able to very fast carry out the leakage all the way to the earth? So safety comes in handy. And if you are an electrician and you have any challenges when it comes to wiring a one-bedroom house, a two-bedroom house, this is definitely the right. Moving on, my top bosses, apart from that, we also have another important circuit, like we mentioned, which is definitely an electric cooker. Did we mention it anywhere? An electric cooker. Where is it? We don't have it here. But an electric cooker, my top boss says, is very important in this sense. It draws a lot of current. In fact, an electric cooker will have something that we refer to as a hot plate. We also have something that we refer to as an oven. If someone has visitors who have activated all of these, it means that the current drawn at any given time is a lot. And therefore, in many cases, you may find that it is even 30 amperes. Now, what we recommend is usually a 6.0 cable. All right. Now, another important thing that we need to know is that for a consumer unit to a meter box or a meter board, we require a 10.0 cable. Why? Because this one will definitely be sustaining all of these loads from the lighting, sockets, shower heads, as well as the heaters. Assuming that it is dinner time or it is in the evening when everybody is in the house or at home and the other one is cooking, right? For instance, Margaret is cooking something in the kitchen at the same time blending something, some juice, a smoothie after a long day at work. And also, heating something on the microwave, and there is also someone else that is ironing the clothes. Will the mains cable be able to sustain this load at that time? So that is the question that we normally have, and that is why we settle for 10.0 m, while majority of the people who are still joking use 6.0 as the mains. All right, so we need to take note of that. Another list of materials my top bosses is definitely concerned. List of material my top bosses, which I will list it as number 3, is fittings, electrical. Here is where now we need a consumer unit. In the consumer unit, my top bosses will require number 1. This is my favorite topic, as you all know. And if you have not watched the video that we have done on wiring a consumer unit, my top bosses, check it out. And the link is definitely on the description. My assistant Margaret will be helping me to pin that on the description so that you may not miss that topic. On the consumer unit, we first of all have one thing that is very important, which is definitely DPMCB, or a double pole miniature circuit breaker. Now, what this one protects against is number 1, an overcurrent, right? An overcurrent, and it also assists in ensuring that in case there is a huge short circuit, it will definitely trip. Also, a manual DPMCB provides a safety for you to always switch it off in case you require to manually switch it off if there is a short circuit, or if there is someone receiving an electric shock, or if there is a fire. You will easily access it and switch it off. Another important thing that is found in the consumer unit, which you as a homeowner is supposed to install, is something that we refer to as an RCCB. Top bosses, if you understand the operation or the use of an RCCB, let me know in the comments section so that I can know that we are together. Apart from the RCCB, my top bosses, in fact, let me know what is an RCCB in full. Did you know that majority of the people are not aware about this? Majority of the people are not aware how important this one is. Did you know that this could stand on the way between you meeting your creator and you surviving another day here on earth? If you don't have an RCCB in your wiring, by the way, why don't you have an RCCB in your home? All right. Now, moving on, we also have something that is important, which is an MCB. An MCB is a very important invention or innovation in the sense that it protects against very important thing, a short circuit. All right? A short circuit. The question now here is, how many do you need? First of all, for protection against an overcurrent, an MCB, what matters here is the size. All right, so if it is a 63 ampere or 100 ampere DPMCB to protect against an overcurrent. Like you, if you go with 63, in case you have any load that exceeds 63, it will automatically trip, saving that circuit against an overload or an overcurrent. An RCCB, my top bosses, I'm waiting for your answer in the comment section. When we go to the MCB, top bosses, we require several. But in the meantime, do we have any question directly on our chats or Maggie? All right. Hi, Brian. This is how you know that our team here at Top Heights is growing. We have mentioned a cooker here, a 6M cable, which is used for that circuit, should be accompanied by a 32 ampere MCB. Why? Because this cooker can draw a lot of current. If we have mentioned 25, 28, or even 30 amperes that are drawn by this cooker circuit, definitely a 32 ampere will work with it properly. When it comes, my top bosses, to the sockets or the shower, we require a 32 ampere. This is for the shower. And when it comes to the socket, we require a 20 ampere MCB as well as a 16 ampere MCB. What about lighting, my top bosses? What is the size of lighting? Where is a 10 ampere MCB used? And when it comes to lighting, what is the size of the MCB to be used, my top bosses? In your country, what size of MCB are you using for lighting? Let me know in the comment section as well as in the chats, my top bosses. Moving on. Very important. From the consumer unit, we definitely go to what is so obvious. Number one, sockets. What type of sockets do you require? In the living room or in the main room, we definitely require several. We might even require double sockets. So that means that we may require double sockets, and in that place, we require the sockets for number one, TV, require sockets for charging a phone, and we also require sockets for probably having something like a sound system. Okay, so placing them different places, you should definitely consider a minimum of 3 power outlets, and this one should be double. Moving on to the bedroom, we require 2 outlets. All right. So assuming that you have visitors, you have friends, you can definitely, let's just go along with it and flow with it. If this one is a bedroom, my top boss is giving you a pictorial composition, and then we have a bed here. Yeah. This one is a bed. This one is a bed, my friend. You cannot argue. This one is a bed. This one is the headboard, if I'm not wrong. And then we have probably a socket here and then another socket here. You may have, let's say, okay, probably this is a door. You may probably have a section where you iron your clothes at this point. You'll have an outlet here. So you'll have 3 outlets, or sometimes you find that people have only 2, depending also here for electricians on the budget of the customer. If the customer insists that they are on a tight budget, then you cannot have all of these sockets. You may probably have 2, or sometimes you may even have 1. So it is good to work with the customer. If the customer opposes having 2, don't force them. Don't try to make it logical. You can even tell them, you can even have this one, and then in future, we can simply provide a provision where we have the conduit so that the plastering work can be done, the wiring cannot be done, but in future, if you want to upgrade, you can simply pull the cables through the conduits. But here, you can cover with something that we also need to add to the list, which is a switch cover. All right? Switch cover, the white one. We have a comment, right? Yes. Cash film, 664 and 6 ampere. Ah, very good. This one he was referring to the lights MCB, isn't it? And thank you so much, my top boss, for engaging. Who is that? Cash film. Cash film. Cash film. Film ile Director Lee. Thank you so much, our top boss, Cash Film, for that 6 ampere MCB for lighting. Incredible. Please, can you explain? Please, can you re-explain the DPMCB? DPMCB. Perfect. Now, the DPMCB first has to protect against what we refer to as an overcurrent. And when it comes to an overcurrent, we really want to know what is an overcurrent. First of all, if at all the total load connected at a given time exceeds the rating of a DPMCB, it means that it will trip, protecting against that overcurrent. So assuming that the DPMCB is rated at 63 amperes, and then you connect a washing machine, a cooker, instant showers, plus a water pump, and that current exceeds or goes all the way to 65 amperes, the DPMCB will detect an overcurrent. It will definitely trip automatically to save against any issues that are brought about by overcurrent, such as overheating. Now, for that case, if it tripped, the question is, the electrician has to come. Did you invite him to come and troubleshoot? In many cases, it is not good for you to always lift these devices up. So engage an electrician who will come and troubleshoot. What made the DPMCB to trip? Was there a short circuit, which was super heavy? Now, a short circuit is usually protected by the MCB of the respective circuit, but if at all of these are connected, remember, they will not individually trip. Why? Assuming that the load of the lights, okay, that is a very huge statement, but of course here at Topites, we always have huge statements because we are big out of the top. Now, assuming that the light circuit is 5 amperes, all right, we also have a 20 ampere circuit from the sockets, assuming that all of that is exhausted, but again at 18 amperes. All right. And for the 32, which is an instant shower, assuming that it is only at 30 amperes. And then the cooker is also activated at the same time, it is at 30 amperes. Bringing all of these totals, we have 60 plus 18 plus 5, my top bosses. What is that? 13 carry 1, 83 amperes. Now, this is how the DPMCB will trip alone without the MCBs. And that is how a DPMCB protects against an overcurrent. So this one will be an overcurrent, not for individual circuits, because there will be no tripping of any MCB here. Remember, for the lights, it is not yet 6 amperes. For the sockets, it is 18, but not 20 amperes. So the socket MCB will not trip. For the shower, as well as for the cooker, all of them are not yet at 32 amperes. So there is no cause for alarm for individual circuits to trip. But in totality, it is 83, which exceeds these 63 amperes. The rating of the DPMCB, it will definitely trip and protect against that error. That error is what is referred to as an overcurrent. Right? Do we understand up to there? Another thing that you as a homeowner need to do then is to step up your DPMCB to 100 amperes so that it is not a 63, because it automatically indicates that your load is beyond 63. All right, I hope I've answered that. Do we have any other question, Top Boss Margaret? So moving on, apart from what we have at the consumer, we definitely have the sockets, and after the sockets, so we have said that we start with the double sockets, and also in the bedroom we can go with a double socket here as well as another double socket here. So for the bedrooms, if it is a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom, for each of the bedrooms, ensure that you have 2 double sockets. All right. Also depends with the budget of the customer, but if I was installing and the customer says that it is way above their budget, then I will propose this. Because the cables are expensive, let us leave provision so that in future, if you want to upgrade, you don't need to cut the walls. So let us lay the conduits for the double sockets so that we have provision for 2 sockets, but when wiring, we'll only wire 1 socket, isn't it? And then this other one, we will leave it as a possible future provision so that in future, if the customer gets some chums, okay, if the customer gets some money, they will definitely buy the cables as well as the socket. And at that time, we are sure they will also afford labor. That is what we have done with majority of our clients, where we start with them and they tell us, we have this budget, where can we get started? We tell them, don't you think that you require lighting for the rooms? Don't you think that you require socket installations in at least a bedroom or even the main area or the common area such as the sitting room? They say yes. So we start with a socket. Even in many cases, we have started with only 1 socket. And after the socket, of course, we have the lightings, and then they tell us, you know what, we are in need of an instant shower. So we go ahead doing that until finally we even have security lights along every sensitive part in the compound, and that is how they complete the wiring. Awesome. Did that? Thank you so much. That is Kabugo, right? So Kabugo, we normally have live stream during the weekdays, once in a while on weekends, but we'll be sharing our schedule. I know we've been singing this, but we'll be sharing our schedule so that we'll pin it somewhere, and we'll definitely be alerting you, especially across other social media platforms. Margaret will definitely remember to remind me so that we can pin that, so that we can hold ourselves accountable to what we have promised, isn't it? Incredible. Thank you so much. Moving on, when it comes to lighting, we require the socket, or not the sockets. I'm going off kidogo. So when it comes to lighting, another important thing that we definitely require, we require switches. All right. So if it is in a 1 bedroom, if it is in the main room, we definitely require 2-way switches. So in each bedroom, we require 2 2-way switches. Right. We also require a bulb holder or a ceiling rose. So this one is usually the basic. I understand people will say, John, there is need for panel lighting. I know there is need for downlighters. There's also need for a chandelier. But remember, when this client is constructing a home or building their home, they definitely have a tight budget. Unless you are dealing with the high-end ones, they have a budget for everything. But if you are a homeowner that is starting and you definitely require all of these, there is no point of an electrician choking you to have all of those provision: panel lighting, downlighters, as well as a chandelier. All they can do is give a provision for the same. So normally here at Top Heights, what we normally do is to engage with the customer, work with them. Do you see a possibility in future of having downlighters, of having panel lights? And we show them the work that we have already done, where we will clearly demonstrate how a downlighter looks, how a panel light looks, as well as a chandelier. If they agree that in future they're looking forward to upgrade that, then we start with the easiest path, which is definitely, for instance, having the provision for the lights. All right, so we can have a circular box for those. We can also have a provision for switching, so that in case they decide to upgrade, we definitely have that. All right, so two-way switches. And when it comes to definitely at the sitting room, we require 2 switches or even more. When it comes to the kitchen, probably they also have a balcony. So they have the kitchen, and then they have the balcony. And so here you must also factor in the lighting. And like we said, you need to go with the basics. The bulb holder. The bulb holder is basically a provision for a light. Regardless of what light will be fixed there, you can simply upgrade from the common traditional bulb holders to a chandelier. But either way, in case the customer decides to upgrade, do they have to go back to the pocket and sacrifice an arm and a leg for them to have that? No, they are simply supposed to upgrade at the lighting point only. Director, do you have anything? What are people saying?
Kabugo is saying,
Yeah.
I would like to be helped in clarifying where the fuse and resistor are put from the consumer unit through the circuit.
The fuse. Did he mention the fuse? And what else?
And a resistor
Resistor.
are put.
We don't have those in a consumer unit. Remember, these are devices that these are features in, apart from an electronic, there is an old wiring system that we used to have a fuse, and that was not in a consumer unit, especially the modern ones, but it was in what we used to refer a fuse box in a house, or the main fuse box, or the main switch. We used to have switches of different ratings. Now, with the current upgrade, we no longer use fuses. We no longer use, I've never heard of a resistor. A resistor is an electronic, an MCB. Moving on, my top bosses, any other question? 1,000 YouTube subscribers. That will definitely be a joy here. And also a party, if we'll still be there, we'll be very happy. So my top bosses, moving on, we require switches like we have mentioned. We require also one way, assuming that we are connecting this switch in a bathroom, because we have said that we require a bathroom, stroke a toilet, or we can just refer to it as a restroom. We require a switch, a single or a one-way switch to activate that light that is in the bathroom. We don't require two-way here. All right, so that is what we require. We require something that is referred to as a bulkhead for security lights, and also for the toilet or the restroom. We require what? The ball. The ball. There's a no. There's that ball for the lights, which is referred to as I'm forgetting. Good. Thank you, Maggie. Just said it is a ball fitting. How is ball written? Of course, we will require another thing. Let me just clear my board so that we can have more space for. I hope you're taking notes, my top bosses. So if you're an electrician, a beginner electrician, looking forward to serving your customers, ensure that you don't go wrong when it comes to the list of materials that you give them. Now, this one is universal for both one bedroom as well as a 2-bedroom. And the list that I'm giving actually applies to these two, because the difference here, like we said, is only one room. The other room will definitely require sockets as well as lights. So there's no big difference. Top bosses, when it comes to a bungalow, a mansion, or any house that we are coming up or our client is coming up with and it requires a master in suit, We'll definitely be talking about that in our subsequent. All right, moving on, we will, apart from the socket, the switches, we will also, like we've mentioned, the bulb holders, we will also require an outlet, very important, especially in today's world, an outlet for number one, internet. Internet. We require an outlet for an internet. We also require an outlet for. Do DSTV systems still apply? I'm not sure about that, but if I was coming up with my home, I would definitely not have that. That is an ancient way of doing things. Aerial outlets, I don't think I will also have that, but I will definitely factor in the internet because, again, remember, in a very few years to come, this will also be phased out because of the Elon Musk innovation, which is the Starlink. So you don't require any connections or any wiring when it comes to this one. But you may also require a provision whereby you'll have that. Another important thing, apart from the security lights, my top bosses, we also require what we refer to as, of course, we have the security lights. There's a device that activates the security lights automatically in the evening, as well as switch them off in the morning. Top bosses, what is this device called? It activates the security lights automatically in the evening by lighting or switching them on, and then in the morning it switches them off automatically. Top, I will definitely give you a shout out. Now, moving on, my top bosses, we also require something that is also very important when it comes to electrical installation, which is the earth rod or the earth mat. Yes, we have a question.
What role does an RCCB play in the residential?
Awesome. Like we mentioned, and I had also put that as a question, but the question still remains, what is RCCB in full? But the RCCB is a silent monitor. It monitors the flow of current in a circuit. Remember, we learned that a circuit flows from one point and then flows back to the source. So assuming that this is a source, it doesn't matter the source. It could be your solar power, meaning from the inverter. Also, if you're using the national grid, it could be the transformer. The question or the main point is, what is the source? And the current flows from the source all the way to the appliance. So assuming that this one is an appliance, or we can say it is a circuit, so it could be a light or a cooker. But there is this one is definitely a circuit. Combined, it is a circuit. So that is why you hear people mention about a complete circuit. If current is flowing all the way from the source, the transformer, all the way to a cooker, all the way to the source, it is making a complete circuit or a loop. The question is, my top bosses, the current that is flowing through this circuit, is it 1 ampere? Yes. So if it is flowing through this circuit and it is 1 ampere on the line, and then back, it is less 30 milliamperes or 0.03 amperes. This RCCB will trip. Why will it trip? It will definitely trip because it has detected that there is something that is leaving the circuit. And you see, this concept of RCCB is now the RCCB operates in the same way, because if it detects that some energy has left it, it will definitely shut down that circuit, protecting someone that is receiving an electric shock. So my top bosses, the main purpose of the RCCB is to definitely detect any current that is leaving the circuit. Why is that important? So that it can shut down probably the leakage of this 0.03 amperes is going through someone, because again, remember, electricity prefers the path of least resistance. Many people don't have resistance in their body. So if this 0.03 is sneaking into their body, it means that they are definitely receiving an electric shock, because their body is a path of least resistance. All right. So assuming that our top director Lee is receiving an electric shock, this RCCB is supposed to trip. Reason? Because it has detected some current leaving the circuit. So it basically monitors, is one current that is flowing through the line the same 1 amperes, is 1 ampere or 1,000 milliamperes that is flowing through the line the same 1,000 milliamperes that is flowing out of the circuit through the neutral. If at all there is 970 milliamperes traveling back through the neutral, it will detect that Lee is electrocuted at that point or receiving an electric shock, and it will simply trip, shutting down the entire circuit so that we don't lose our brother. So that is basically the operation of RCCB. Oh, power solution is in the building. Thank you so much. That is a triple M.
Yes.
Power solution, our top
Give
boss.
them a-
Thank you so much. Top bosses can follow you. Top bosses, when you see the comment of our top boss, follow, because they are also very engaging on our platform. Thank you so much, Triple M. All right. So yes, do you have any other? Buzanga. Oh, photocell. Answering that, where we were talking about the security lights, isn't it? So we have the photocell. Thank you so much, our top bosses, for the responses. We appreciate that. Yep. Any other? So top bosses, when you are also giving these material lists, last but not least, unless I've missed out on something, but you can also let me know on the comment section, is definitely to have a meter box. A meter box will always ensure that you assist the customer in ensuring that the meter, as well as the cutout, as well as the double pole that is located at the meter box is there. You can also have an SPD at the meter box. So ensure that when you are giving the customer this list, that you don't forget the meter box. If there is anything that I am missing, let me know, our top boss Maggie. All right. But if there is something that I've forgotten, if you have watched the entire video, let me know in the comment section. And when we'll be talking about the master and suite 3 or 4 bedroom, we'll definitely be addressing that. Top bosses, if you haven't watched the video that we have already done on material list for a single room or a bed sitter or a studio, top bosses, check it out, and we have already talked much about that. Also, when it comes to earthing, when it comes to safety, we have talked about that. Like I told you, this is the place that you need to be when it comes to electrical, and more so when it comes to solar. Do you want to know the materials that you require for solar? We have also put that in our to-do list, and we'll be talking about that, my top bosses. If you are a homeowner, if you are a developer, if you're looking forward to building your own home and you want to know the materials as well as the right people to come and help you in terms of the wiring, and most importantly, my top boss, the safety aspect, where we incorporate the earth rod or the earth mat, at Topaz Electricals and Electricians will definitely be helping you. Just hit us out, just check us out on our number, WhatsApp number, which is +254 711 34 34 12, and we'll definitely be helping you to get to that level. Also, if you're looking forward to install solar in your property that you probably have already installed, and you're just looking at this video like that one check, I did that, top bosses, also reach out to us via the same number, and we'll help you in sizing the correct solar power that you need to power your home. And we also provide the materials as well as the services across Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any parting question?
Yes. It's mine.
Yes.
Say, nilikuwa nauliza chao mwenye alinifundisha electrical anasema RCCB inatumika only in grade 2, not in houses.
In grade 2,
Yeah,
not in houses. The question there would be, in case there is an electric shock that someone is receiving, even if they are living in a cave. Oh, so our contact is +254 or 0711 34 34 12. If I may have it here for our top boss asking, 0711 34 34 12, or +254 for our top bosses in diaspora, +254 711 34 34 12. Did you know that we also work with people living in diaspora, UK, USA, Qatar? These people are very smart because they develop properties here in Kenya. Sometimes your relative may not be of much help when you're trying to get an honest answer in terms of the materials required as well as the services. When you engage our good company, which is Top Heights Electricals as well as Solar, we will help you outsourcing these materials, and we'll be sharing every information along the way, including sharing the receipts that we have bought with your hard-earned money, and ensure that we share photos in real time as well as videos so that you don't have an issue. All right. Do you have any question before we end the stream? Any question from your side, Lee? All right. Okay. So, my top bosses, thank you so much for watching our today's stream. It was such a pleasure to have you on behalf of our top bosses, Lee, as well as Maggie, that has been very helpful on our stream. I want to thank you so much for your time. And if you're developing your property and thinking about an electrician that you can engage or a solar technician, definitely don't hesitate to consult us through our WhatsApp number, and we will definitely be of assistance. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Solar. Goodbye for now.